I was watching a podcast the other day, and this guy said the quote, "Death is the great foe that sits above mankind and scoffs at his wisdom." What he's saying is, no matter how hard we try, or no matter what accomplishments we have in life, we may become billionaires, we may have the best family, we may have the worst family, we may do whatever, have a lot of accomplishments. No matter what we do, no matter what pursuit in life, it all comes to an end. Death is the one thing in your life that is unavoidable, and that's guaranteed for everybody. And there's nothing you could do that you can escape it. And there's also this fact that in your life, it's easy to see this as the older you get, the more experience you have, the more heartbreak you go through, the more death you experience, that there's something missing. That no matter how much money you make, no matter how many bills you pay, no matter how many friends you have, no matter how many marriages and relationships you go through and you ruin and you end and you start over, maybe you find the love of your life, no matter any of that, it all comes to an end because death is coming. And there's one thing in you that is missing, that you have a lifelong longing to pursue, and that is Jesus. All your fame, your money, your possessions, your family, and your friends, they all are going to leave you behind, whether intentionally, whether, by mistake, whether they stay with you to the end, or they die, or until their death, or death takes you from them. It's still Jesus. He's still the one at the end of your life you have to face. And that longing stays with you your whole life because you need him now. Spend a lot of time out in the public. I see all these people, they go out and they numb their pain. They just numb it. They're all looking for meaning. They're pursuing it through these relationships and these parties, and they're not going to find it there because it's in Jesus. It's only in Jesus that you can find fulfillment. You can find wholeness. And you may think it's in fame, it's in money, it's in, sleeping with all these women or sleeping with all these men that are... All that is medication to numb the pain that's there from missing Jesus. And when you truly find Jesus, none of that compares to his love and his grace that he has for you, that he came down to earth. Even though you've made all these mistakes, even though you intentionally hurt people, even though you intentionally sinned, he said, "You're worth it. I'll go die for you." Right now in your worst state or in your best state, he said, "I will go down there into this earth filled with hate, filled with war, filled with death, and I will die so that you don't have to." Because the only way to avoid spiritual death is through the life of Jesus. And when you truly grasp that, you come into wholeness. And you can come into that in this life. You don't have to wait. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner, maybe this life doesn't get better. Maybe you just have a bad life. Because that happens for most people. But you can have that peace. You can have that wholeness here. And have that peace that you will be with the Father. You will be with Jesus in heaven. And I don't know who this is for, or if it's for anybody, or if I'm just in my car right now talking to myself. But that's just something that God put on my heart. That death's coming. Physical death. It doesn't have to be spiritual death. But for a lot of you watching this, it will be. And this life you live on earth is the closest thing to heaven you'll ever get. And for the believers, this is the closest thing to hell you'll ever get. If you need help, if you want to know about this Jesus, just reach out. Peace.